All right, it's Prediction Thursday here at Lions Talk Live, and we're going to break down the Chicago Bears coming to Ford Field and taking on the Detroit Lions. We got two teams currently going in opposite directions. The Lions, since the first meeting of the year with the Chicago Bears, have been trending towards earning a playoff spot, while the Bears, much to their demise, despite having a superstar in the budding in Justin Fields leading the offense, they're aiming towards potentially a ninth straight loss. One team looking for the playoffs, the other team looking for maybe the number one draft pick. So let's break them both down, talk about what we think is going to happen in this game, and give a score prediction somewhere in the video. We'll get into all these things, and maybe just a little bit more, in today's Lions Talk Live. Well, greetings and salutations to everybody out there in YouTube land. I'm your host, once again, Dan Thornton, and I want to thank each and every one of you for taking time out of your busy days this Thursday to tune in to Lions Talk Live. If you have not yet subscribed to Lions Talk, please consider doing so. It takes you about a second, maybe 2 seconds. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button, maybe leave a thumbs up or a like, however you want to call it, and leave some interactive talks and chats in the comment section below. Now, let's get into today's video. We've got the Lions coming off a bit of a butt whooping down in Carolina. So much so that, as I reported earlier this week, there's a little bit of, questions. What's going on with Jamison Williams? Why isn't he on the field? What happened to our linebackers? They weren't filling gaps. Carolina was using a lot of pull counters and things of that sort. And we just looked ill prepared for that game. Now, coming into this game, we're going to face David Montgomery and Justin Fields, two guys that in the first game and throughout most of the season have given people fits on the offensive side of the ball. I'm not much of a stats person because I think stats can be deceiving, so I'm going to say what I'm going to say with a grain of salt. According to Pro Football Focus, the Chicago Bears actually have the 10th best run-blocking offensive line in all the NFL. While David Montgomery's had a very good season for sure, he's averaging just a little bit over 4 yards a carry. A lot of the production of that offensive line in the running game comes from Justin Fields, and let's be fair, his God-given ability. This kid is an athlete like very few others. If he gets outside containment, if he can shake and bake and improvise on a play, then he's probably going to do a lot of harm to most NFL defenses. That being said, the Lions did face him the first game, and while Justin Fields did run all over them the majority of the game, the Lions did make some subtle defensive line adjustments in the fourth quarter, and what do you know? The Lions launched perhaps their biggest comeback of the season, overcoming, I believe it was a 17-point deficit in the fourth quarter to earn the victory. Yes, you can say many things that haven't gone the Lions' way against mobile quarterbacks, but in that span of 15 minutes, the Lions figured something out, were able to contain Justin Fields for the most part, and force him to become a passer, which he ultimately may become a very good one. He's just not there yet. Unlike the first time we played them two, the Bears have been beset by a number of injuries, both on the offense and the defense. They have another number of people out in their secondary, and their leading receiver is also out for the year with a high ankle sprain. So with that being said, what can the Lions do to effectively eliminate Justin Fields? One of the big factors I believe we will see this week, and you're going to hear it here first probably, is that you're going to see a promotion in the number of snaps Houston gets on defense. He's been incredible for a rookie. He's been incredible for a guy that anybody could have claimed off our practice squad, even though we cut him before putting him on the practice squad, all that. The fact is he has arrived, and he does meet an area of growing need against a mobile quarterback. He's fast. He can get after people. He's quick. You've heard me talk about Lions Talk Live. He's got unbelievable bend in the ankle and his knees, and with his ability to drop and dip shoulders to get around offensive tackles. So even though Justin Fields may be more of a runner than Houston would traditionally be used against, it is my anticipation you're going to see him and both Romeo Okwara out wide a lot, forcing wide containment, allowing people like Kaminsky or whomever else on the inside to get inside pressure and have more mobility to help fill gaps when Justin may get out to try to scramble. All right, so talking about the Lions now, since the Bears secondary is a little bit in shambles along with their defense overall, it's my anticipation you're going to see a lot more of the running game setting up play action and, yes, Another thing you're going to hear first, I do believe Jameson Williams is going to be a part of the package on the offensive side far more than we've seen. Call it a guess, but it is my anticipation going to this game. Josh Reynolds, who's been a little bit hobbled this week, is going to sit more, and you're going to see Jameson Williams play a lot more. So my anticipation is you're going to see him some outside, but I want to say this. I'm seeing from watching film on when the Lions have used them, they're going to probably put two receivers out wide, and Jameson Williams is going to be the inside guy. This is going to allow for, say, St. Brown or Shark to go out wide and slant over the middle and allow Jameson Williams to run some deep streaks or post routes, etc. There will be probably other formations being used, but this is one I'm anticipating we will see quite a bit of, and it's going to force the Bears into some uncomfortable positions because as many defenses try to take away St. Brown, short crossers and things of that sort, you're going to have to make some choices. Leave him in single coverage, which allows then Jameson Williams to get double, or do you double St. Brown and leave J-Mo in single coverage? We'll see if I'm right, but I do believe Aiden Hutchinson and Kaminsky are going to be used more on second and third downs, along with Romeo Okwara, perhaps, James Houston out wide. Like I said, I think they're going to try to go with more of a bottleneck technique with the outsides coming in wide and the two insides trying to use gap integrity maintaining, but having more speed and athleticism that when Justin Fields does look to scramble, they're going to be able to help maintain those gaps and allow time for other people like the linebackers to come up and fill. One thing Fields can do, though, is pass out of the pocket, especially when he's going to the right. If you notice, when he rolls to the right, he's far more accurate than when he goes to the left and has to throw across his body, like most NFL quarterbacks. It's just in Fields' case, I feel like he's incredibly less accurate rolling and passing across his body. So let's see what the Lions do. But if they use the same formula that they did in that fourth quarter, then this is something we should see throughout the game unless the Bears prove that they're going to burn it. Other factor is, the Lions offensive line for the most part is getting healthier. Yes, they do have some banged up people right now after the Carolina game. Deckard popped up in some reports here and there. We did see, a number of other people out with illness, etc. But it's my anticipation based on the strengths of the Chicago Bears line and linebackers. And we talked yesterday about how Evan Brown is a very good offensive lineman for us. He's just not great at the run blocking. I got to imagine the Lions probably say what Brown is good at, though, is pulling. And you're going to see a lot of pull plays, run plays going opposite direction. We'll set up some play action passes. This means Brown will be running out on running plays to the left side and getting people in space. This favors, DeAndre Swift being used more than Williams. Williams is great on the backfield in power run situations, but for whatever reason, in the last few weeks, Jamal Williams has not been as effective running. So I'm guessing that we're going to see more Jackson and Swift out in space with pulling linemen, and notably, like I said, Brown out there, because that's something he is very, very good at. So let's just say for a second that my anticipation is right, what we're going to do in the running game, and then we're going to get somewhere between 3.5 to 4.5 yards a carry on average. Maybe hit a few bigger ones here and there. I do believe we're also going to see a lot of that play action setup, like I said, with two receivers shifting to one side and some play action pulls with the guards to set up some deep passes to either Shark or Jameson Williams. My guess is the Lions will probably test this out early and put the Chicago Bear defense on its heels. They're not great to begin with. They're not great with pressure either, and they're banged up. A couple of shots early could really loosen up coverage to allow St. Brown, maybe one of the 50 tight ends we now use, to work the middle of the field, and I think that could be potentially a very big game for the offense. So if I'm correct in my assessment, the offense is going to have a big game, then I'm also going to say this: the more of a big game that we can have and put some points on the board early and often against the Bears defense, which is struggling, then I'm going to say this: that's going to force Justin Fields into more obvious passing situations, which is going to allow people like Aiden Hutchinson, Kaminsky, Romeo Okwara, and then obviously Houston to get a lot of bull rush moves and really put their ears back and get after Justin Fields. If this can happen, then I think you could see the defensive line, which prior to the Carolina game had been causing a lot more stress, pressure, and duress situations on opposing quarterbacks, get a lot of sacks today, Sunday, and a lot of hits. We'll see if that pans out, but it is what I'm anticipating. So my score prediction is going to be this: Lions 35, Chicago 20. I do believe the Lions have the opportunity here to really push this game wide open, which later in the fourth quarter, perhaps they can rest a few people, have a little bit easier going game, and then start focusing on the scoreboard to see what's happening with Green Bay. And why we will be scoreboard watching, assuming that my prediction holds true and that we have a little bit easier time with the Bears based on what I've already described. You're going to be watching the scoreboard for how the Washington Commanders are doing, New York Giants, Seattle Seahawks, and potentially a few other teams. But this is, every intents and purposes, a playoff game for the Lions, just like Green Bay's game and everybody else I mentioned. The Lions need a win here this week in order to force a playoff game against Green Bay in Green Bay. So what happens, we'll have to wait and see. But you heard my prediction. Let me know what you think of it. What are your score predictions? Go ahead and put them in the comments section below. And I hope you all have enjoyed this Lions Talk Live video. If you haven't yet subscribed, please consider doing so. Leave me a thumbs up and a few comments down below. Take care, enjoy your day, and we'll see you tomorrow on Lions Talk Live.